2023 is going to be a good year for gaming laptops. We have powerful new 13th gen CPUs and powerful new 4000 series NVIDIA graphics cards. Now what better way to showcase these new components but a review of the new Razer Blade 16, a compact gaming laptop with a revamped chassis to better manage all that power, with larger, brighter screens to enjoy all that content, and many refinements make this laptop worthy of its premium price tag. So buckle in to see why we think this Razer Blade could be the gaming laptop of the year. So after a solid week of testing and playing with this Razer Blade 16, I'm finally back with the full review. And in case you missed the unboxing, which is linked below, I bought the RTX 4080 model with a 500 nit QHD 240Hz display. Now as much as I wanted to get in the mini LED version for a review, and I will hopefully get one soon, having spent some time with this 500 nit QHD panel, I think this model is the absolute sweet spot for the gamer looking for a premium yet powerful laptop. Now if you've seen the Razer Blade 15 before and you come to look at this Razer Blade 16, you'll be quite familiar with the design language of this laptop. We have the same boxy design made from milled aluminium that gives us a premium and solid chassis. And the black finish has the same anti-smudge coating that we got last year, and whilst it doesn't completely eliminate fingerprints, it does a much better job than Razer Blades of years gone by. And on the rear of the lids, we have the Razer logo, which is either in a static green, a breathing green light, or you can just turn it off if you want for that more professional look. Ports are also the same as the Razer Blade 15 with a really generous selection, with a Kensington lock, an HDMI 2.1, a USB-A port, a Thunderbolt 4 port, and a full-size SD card reader on the right-hand side. And if I flip it over to the left side, we've got the Razer proprietary power jack, another 2 USB-A ports, another Thunderbolt 4 port, and a headset jack. And as pleased as I am with this port selection, the one port I do feel is missing is the Ethernet port. Now, the Razer Blade 15 didn't have an Ethernet port, and I could totally understand that with how thin that Razer Blade 15 was at about 17.9 millimeters. But where they've added a 5 extra mil for this Razer Blade 16, they could have easily fitted the actual Ethernet port into this model like they have with the Blade 17 and the Blade 18, which are a similar thickness. So yes, talking of thickness, you heard me right when I said the Razer Blade 16 is 5 millimeters thicker than the previous Razer Blade 15 that this model is pretty much replacing. That's about 30% extra thickness, and I know that will disappoint a lot of viewers out there, especially those that absolutely love the Razer Blade because of how thin it was in that 15-inch form factor. But before you discount this 16 because of its thickness, I think you've really got to understand what Razer Blade are trying to do here. Intel and Nvidia are getting hotter and hotter and needing more and more power every year, and that Razer Blade 15 from last year was so heavily throttled, it just didn't get anywhere near the performance that the 12th gen CPU and the 3080 Ti or 3070 Ti was actually capable of. And by making this laptop thicker, we're able to put in bigger fans and a thicker cooling solution that can actually handle this 13th generation CPU and these new 4000 RTX GPUs that we've got in these laptops. And not only does it actually handle these CPU and GPUs, but we're getting much better wattages than the Razer Blade 15 had last year. But enough about that for the moment. We're going to keep that for the performance section coming up soon. Now, other than the thickness, this Razer Blade 16 is still an incredibly compact gaming laptop, and it's very similar in other dimensions to the Razer Blade 15. It's slightly longer in depth, because obviously we've got that new 16-inch, 16 by 10-inch screen, which we're going to look at in a second, but the width is very much exactly the same. But it is also going to be a little bit heavier this year as well, but still doesn't feel too bad to me, and I'd certainly prefer this that performs so well over a slightly lighter laptop that throttles. So whilst we're talking about the screen, let's open this up and take a look at it. You can see here we have a 16-inch, 16 by 10, 2560 by 1600, 500 nit, 240Hz panel with G-Sync and Advanced Optimus, leading to an absolutely amazing gaming and viewing experience. Thank goodness the PC industry has finally realised what we've all known all along, in that 16 by 10 screens are much better for laptops than the 16 by 9 they've tried to force on us for the last few years. Now obviously if you're watching movies you may have some black bars at the top and bottom, but for most people that are using a laptop for gaming, for content creation, for web surfing, having that extra screen real estate really helps. Also by increasing the actual vertical height of the screen, we've got less bezel that we used to have on the Blade 15 down below the actual screen. And with this actual screen being 500 nits this year, it's a big improvement over the Blade 15s from the last few years, which very often capped out at only 300 nits, and in my opinion isn't bright enough for a lot of environments, such as this bright studio here and my bright home, where 400 to 500 nits is much better for my laptops. Now, if this beautiful QHD Plus 500 nit screen isn't good enough for you, you can also get the 4K 1000 nit mini LED version. It's a bit difficult to get hold of at the moment, but it's a fantastic option and also a very pricey one. So looking down to the actual palm rest of this laptop, you're going to notice the supersized trackpad on this new Blade 16. This trackpad is ridiculously huge. And as good as it is to use, the gliding's amazing, it tracks amazingly well, the clicks are good, everything works well when you're using this as a laptop. So if you're sitting with this on your lap, surfing the web, you're going to love this trackpad. But sometimes I think you can go just a little bit too big, and I think this trackpad may well be, because as good as it is for surfing the net and using it for like creation and apps and other bits and pieces with this on your lap, when you're gaming, you may start getting a bit annoyed by it. I did find when I'm gaming with some WASD keys, I'm accidentally rolling on and getting some infrequent taps on the actual touchpad, and that is quite annoying. Now what I did to combat that is when I plug my mouse into game, I get it to automatically turn off the trackpad, but you shouldn't really have to do that. And moving up to the keyboard, we've got the same Razer per key RGB keyboard that we had last year. So it's got the new slightly bigger keycaps and a much better pressure and feel. It doesn't feel as dead as the Razer Blades used to feel, but still with these Razer Blades, despite being 5mm thicker than last year's Razer Blade 15, it still doesn't have a lot of travel. So it's not going to feel as good as if you're typing on an Alienware keyboard, but it's much better than Razer Blades of a couple of years ago, and I can get used to this keyboard and quite enjoy it still. Looking either side of the actual keyboard, you can see these milled holes for the actual speaker grille covers, and this year we've got the improved 4-speaker system in this Razer Blade 16. And having spent some time with the Razer Blade 15 recently, this 16 is a big step up, and the speakers sound like this. Razer Blade 16, speaker test at 50% volume. Now 80% volume. That's a big improvement over the Razer Blade 15. And then up above the screen, we've got the 1080p webcam with privacy shutter, which is a new addition to the Blade 16 and very handy. And we've also got Windows Hello facial recognition, which is still my favourite way of logging into Windows. And it's a 1080p webcam, and it looks and sounds like this. This is a test of the camera and the microphones on the new Razer Blade 16 laptop. Before we move on to performance, I want to quickly talk about upgradability of this laptop. And I think this is an area where Razer Blades really deserve more praise than they get. Now, the previous Blade 15s, despite being some of the most compact gaming laptops, still allowed RAM, SSDs and Wi-Fi cards to be upgradable. And this Razer Blade 16 is no exception. We've got 2 upgradable DDR5 RAM slots, and they're providing us with 5600 MHz RAM, which is really nice to see. We've also got 2 Gen 4 M.2 slots, one of which is populated with a 1TB M.2 fast SSD. Now they're stacked on top of each other, so they can get a little bit hot, and they're limited to the 2TB single-sided drives, but it's still nice that we've got 2 in here. And we've also got an Intel Wi-Fi 6E network card, so for good network connectivity. Now, in case you're interested, we will be doing a video upgrading this and trying to max it out very soon, so make sure you're subscribed for that, and that will be probably coming in the next week or so. And the last couple of things I want to mention is we've now got a bigger 95 watt-hour battery than last year's Razer Blade 15. We've obviously got the bigger cooling system, which is the bigger fans and bigger vapor chamber cooler to get the extra heat needed from these components out of this chassis. And the last bit of praise I want to talk about with upgradability on these laptops is the fact that the motherboards aren't inverted, so it's very easy to repaste and clean the fans on this model, which is completely the opposite of Alienware, who always invert the motherboards, making them very difficult to maintain. So all in all, top marks to Razer for the upgradability. So now let's take a look at the performance. And this is probably the reason that most people are considering a Razer Blade 16. And I've had a fair few comments that this Razer Blade 16 is too thick to be a Razer Blade and now just looks like a generic gaming laptop. But I have to disagree here. Yes, it is a fair bit thicker, but do you really notice that once it's sitting on your desk? I would much rather a slightly fatter laptop that was well cooled rather than a very slim laptop that permanently throttled. Even Apple have realised this. When they released the M1 MacBook Pro 14-inch and 16-inch, they were actually much thicker than the previous Intel MacBook Pro 16s. And if you still aren't convinced, then let's fire up this i9 13th gen CPU with its 24 cores and 32 threads and see how it performs. When have you ever seen a Razer Blade being able to hold over 110 watts on the CPU without getting hot or loud? This is truly an absolutely amazing achievement from Razer. I'm running Cinebench R23, we scored over 26,000 on its maxed out profile, which is a truly phenomenal score for a compact laptop of this size. And we also have plenty of profiles available in Synapse, so you can customize this to suit your needs. And each of them is totally relevant, giving us different scores and sound profiles for each of the tests that we run. Now, the balanced profile caps the CPU at 55 watts and the silent at 35 watts. So you can imagine that obviously performance will decrease, but you get a much cooler and quieter running laptop if you need it in those instances. And every time I do any CPU work on this machine, I'm totally blown away by the performance that this new CPU offers. And I haven't even mentioned yet that Razer have completely left this CPU unlocked, allowing you to modify it in the Synapse app itself, or in Intel XTU or Throttle Stop to totally customize it for your needs. And we will be covering that in a lot more detail later, so make sure you subscribe if you want to see that video. Moving over to the GPU, and the 175 watt TGP 4080 in this machine is truly special. We've had a few years now of the 3000 series, and last year's 3070 Ti and 3080 Ti were truly underwhelming. But once you start running benchmarks and playing games on this machine, that will be completely forgotten. The 3D Mark scores are crazy, and even on its silent profile, it absolutely destroyed last year's Razer Blade 15. Add to that we get Advanced Optimus, G-Sync, and DLSS 3, you've got some really good reason to invest in some new technology. And benchmarking aside, gaming on this laptop is an absolute joy to behold. Putting this in the maximum performance profile led to some incredible AAA gaming, even in its QHD Plus 2560 by 1600 actual resolution, and that was without overheating, throttling, or even a hot keyboard and palm rest. Though it does get loud at 53 decibels in that profile. But I really do like the fact that the profiles in Razer Synapse make a great deal of sense this year. So if the performance mode is too loud for you, switching it to the balance mode or the silent mode leads to a much quieter gaming experience at 46 decibels or 40 decibels respectively. And these other profiles still provide a great gaming experience. Running Shadow the Tomb Raider on all three of the different main profiles, you can see the difference of the actual wattage of the CPU and the actual GPU, and all three of these profiles lead to some great frame rates. On most previous gaming laptops I've used, a silent mode is only ever good for web browsing or doing a bit of office work, but not on this machine. The silent mode is absolutely excellent, and I do recommend it if you want to game on a sofa with people around you, or maybe even in a library, because that 40 decibels is really incredible. And Synapse, although not the best piece of software, does provide some great options as well as the profiles. The fact that you can adjustize the custom profile, the fact that the CPU unlocking can be done within the Synapse software itself, the newly implemented battery health system, which allows you to choose between 50 and 80% to stop the battery charging and protect it if you're always using your laptop on mains, and the fact that the Synapse can use any other Razer product all within this one piece of software. Okay then, so on to the battery section. I want to talk about performance on battery first. And as always with Intel, performance on battery is absolutely fantastic, and it feels as if you're running on mains when you're actually on battery. That is always great on Intel CPUs. But the usual negative, battery life. And as with all Intel gaming CPUs, battery life is not brilliant. Now Razer have increased the battery capacity this year, but even then in our Wi-Fi YouTube streaming test at 200 nits of brightness, we only got 5 hours and 35 minutes. And as soon as you start doing anything remotely demanding, that value drops like a stone. Now this is an Intel problem and not a Razer problem. If you buy a Ryzen laptop, battery life is always a lot better, and Razer have done their best to try and mitigate some of this poor battery life by the fact that now when you unplug the power adapter, the screen will automatically switch to 60 Hz to try and help you save a bit of battery, and that can be disabled if you don't like that in the Synapse software, but still 5 hours and 35 minutes isn't the best result from a laptop. Fortunately, the 330 watt GAN charger is pretty compact for the actual power it provides. And you can also get by for light work using the actual USB-C power delivery of 100 watts through the Thunderbolt ports. This means if you're out and about doing work on the laptop, you can use your 330 watt at home and just use a USB-C charger. So on to the conclusion, and if you've watched our first impression video, you know that I really enjoyed this laptop and I went as far as to recommend it. Well, after 10 days of solidly using this laptop, my feelings haven't changed. Yes, this Razer laptop is incredibly expensive at £3,599 in the UK, but this isn't much more than the last year's model it replaced. And when you look at some of its competitors' laptops with similar specs, the pricing actually doesn't look that bad. And yes, there will be slightly bigger and fatter gaming laptops with the same CPU and GPU that perform a little bit better than this Razer Blade 16. And yes, others will moan that this Razer Blade 16 is no longer a thin gaming laptop. But I personally feel that Razer has hit the perfect balance between performance and size to make a laptop which is still incredibly compact but performs like a beast. And I couldn't say that about last year's Razer Blade 15, as much as I liked it, it throttled just way too much. So at £3,600, should you buy this model? And still, in my opinion, I reckon yes. I still actually think this is a good buy at that price for a Razer Blade laptop this year, and I don't normally say that about Razer Blades. I'm even going to keep this Razer Blade 16 for myself. Looking at the market, we have some great new machines this year with this new tech, but on the face of it so far, this Razer Blade 16 has stood out the most to me. Well, that's my thoughts on the Razer Blade 16. As always, I'd love to know what you think. Would you or have you bought this Razer Blade 16? Or do you think I'm crazy spending £3,600 of Gary's hard-earned money on this machine? Pop a message in the comment section down below and I will get back to you. And as always, thanks for watching.